Welcome guys to another chess analysis video. Now when you see someone finding a queen sacrifice, usually it's because it leads to a very forced combination. It will usually either lead to checkmate or winning a lot of material, but sometimes, very rarely, another kind of queen sacrifice arises, a type so rare that it's better if you look at an example. Now this game was played in 1994 between Vladimir Kramnik with the white pieces, the guy that nowadays accuses 13-year-olds of cheating.
Okay, let's do the procedure. Block. This is first what I do. And lose on time. And I stop the tournament. Okay, sometimes you are lucky and you get not too many cheaters, but sometimes you are.
And our good old friend Garry Kasparov here with the black pieces. So without further ado, let's just get into the game. Now Kramnik here decides to start with d4, Garry replies with knight f6, and after c4 and g6 we have the classical King's Indian defense on the board. Now if you're not familiar with this opening, basically black aims to rush his kingside development in exchange for surrendering the center, which is quite dangerous in the opening, so only do this if you're comfortable with the opening ideas. Now Kramnik here replies with knight c3, we have bishop g7, and after e4, okay, let's not rush the development too much because the pawns are coming, so let's first play d6, restrict d5, and okay, maybe then we can castle. Kramnik continues with knight f3, we have castles by Kasparov, just normal development now, nothing crazy really. We have bishop to e2 by Kramnik, and now that the development is complete here, finally we're ready to strike in the center, and Kasparov plays e5, which at first sight might look like a stupid move because, well, this square is attacked 2 times, only defended once, so what is happening here? Well, the thing is, this is actually a very common move in the King's Indian defense, and the point is that white can't really take this pawn, because if he does, well, and even if he trades here, he cannot really take the pawn, because knight takes e4 is actually a pretty decent move, because it not only takes the pawn back, but also hits this knight here. And if we do the exchanges, well, in the end, where has white's center gone? So this is a completely equal position. So instead, Kramnik obviously knows this, so he closes the center and plays e5, which now leads to another very interesting plan by Kasparov. Now that the center is closed, he starts playing on the queen side, and he actually plays a5, which, okay, it gets some space, but it has actually a pretty deep idea. Basically, he wants to play knight a6, knight c5, to put some pressure here on the central pawn, and a5 aims to restrict b4, so the knight can't really be kicked away. So let's see how Kramnik deals with this. First he plays bishop d5, which is kind of an annoying pin, so Kasparov just says, what are you doing, and plays h6, kicks the bishop, we have bishop to h4, and now Kasparov simply continues with this plan here on the queen side. Plays knight a6, aiming for this c5 square like I talked about. Kramnik puts his king to safety, and before knight to c5, first he plays bishop to d7, which puts the bishop on a slightly better square, also restricts this b5 square, why not? So Kramnik also is not really stupid, so he sees this plan coming of knight c5, so he anticipates this and plays knight d2, overprotecting this pawn, also preparing f4, so pretty sensible stuff. Kasparov continues with this plan, and now, believe it or not, this is the critical position of the game, and Kramnik here plays b3. And you're like, hey, wait a minute, everything is well defended here in the center, this knight here is pinned, everything is literally super protected here on the queen side, so how is this the critical position of the game? Well, this shows that yeah, you really should stop and think in literally any position, because even the most dry looking positions might have something. Now here Kasparov plays a move that wouldn't even cross, I'm sure, like 99% of the chess population's minds. So I don't know, if you want to pause, well, you probably already have a small bias from the title, from what I was talking about, so it's not really fair. But okay, in this position, Kasparov plays knight takes pawn. I'm sorry, knight takes pawn. What? Because Kramnik immediately says thank you and just takes the queen. What else can he do? But just hold up, because Kasparov was the world champion for hundreds of years in a row, so maybe he's up to something. He takes his knight here, and Okay, this attacks the queen and the bishop, so obviously the queen has to move. It has to stay in touch here with this bishop. So queen to e1 is played, and now Kasparov takes the bishop here. But if we take a look at the material, Kasparov got a knight, a bishop, a knight and a bishop for a queen, and a pawn. Okay, and a pawn. But the thing is, this usually isn't even close to enough compensation. But the thing here is that Kramnik's position is just incredibly tied down. We have this bishop, this sniper literally ready to murder the white pieces here. So maybe Kasparov has a positional compensation. These are the rarest queen sacrifices, these positional queen sacrifices, but they're just amazing. Now, after takes, Kramnik was kind of scared of this sniper coming to life, so he plays rook c1 and attacks this knight. But yeah, this isn't the best move because he just hangs a pawn, and this pawn was incredibly important because after the rook goes back attacking the knight goes to b4, and not only is it aiming to c2, just forking the white pieces. How are you gonna kick this knight from this amazing outpost? You no longer have an a pawn. So, okay, Kramnik has to find a way to deal with this. First, he plays bishop to d1, he defends c2, also opens his queen. Let's see if he can hang on. Now, here he uses the bishop, he finally opens this diagonal, the rook is it. The rook has to move, we have rook to b1, and Kramnik's position is getting super passive, but let's see if he can unleash. Kasparov plays rook to e8, just defends this pawn, right? It was attacked by the knight and the queen. Now it's defended by the knight and the rook. Kramnik replies with queen to e3, desperately trying to blockade the position. But now f5, and here come the pawns, or I don't know, should I say bulldozers, just trying to rip up the white king's camp here. Because if Kramnik does nothing, well, just g5, f4, and the pieces are just gonna infiltrate, and Kramnik is gonna be dead. So here he has to do something. He tries playing h4, stopping g5, but now rook to f8, and the other pawn is getting ready to be pushed. So Kramnik plays g3 and just desperately tries to organize his defenses, but these pieces are so passive that it's not really the easiest task. Now Kasparov brings the other rook that wasn't really doing anything. Kramnik tries playing king to g2, but this doesn't help much because now Kasparov brings the knight from b to d3, and the problem is that f4 really can't be stopped now, so because we have the knight and the rook here. So Kramnik tries playing this rook here, anticipating this file to open up, and maybe he will try to create something. We have f4 takes, like I was talking about. Now we have h5, which, okay, again, like I said, trying to desperately open some lines and get some counterplay, but Kasparov just negates everything. He plays g5 and he still has the pressure here. He has all the time in the world. So Kramnik defends this, and the king is getting kind of naked here, so it's getting a bit tough for him. Kasparov here plays rook to h5, just trying to get the bishop in. So Kramnik just goes back, rook to h1, and asks Kasparov how he's going to make progress. He goes back, we have rook back, and are we going to have a draw? Probably not. He brings the other rook, and how are you going to defend? He tries pushing the pawn, but now the rook slides back, and if the rook goes back, now the pawn can take, and it's a whole different story. So the pawn is taken, we have knight check, and the king is not in the best situation here. Kasparov puts the other knight here on d3, and just to take a look at the severity of the position, just place yourself in the white's shoes, and what would you play here? Like literally, this rook literally has no moves, as everything is protected here. If this bishop moves, well, I don't know, let's just take a look. If the bishop goes here, for example, well, all of a sudden, bishop here, and the queen is pinned, so you have to take it, but now there's a fork, because the bishop moved, and now this square is undefended. So, if the bishop moves here, it's the same situation, right? So, maybe, also this rook can't really move, and if you try moving the queen, this bishop comes in. So, yeah, and as the last nail in the coffin, if the knight moves, now the rook gets in, and there's a pin here, which is also incredibly uncomfortable. So, yeah, white is pretty much dead here, but let's see how Kasparov finishes things. Now in the game, Kramnik plays e5, like I was saying. He doesn't have a good move, so he just gives a pawn that Gary happily takes. We have knight takes on e5, which unrestricts these rooks, so plays rook c1, but this doesn't help much. Now we have rook here attacking the queen, and if the queen just moves, there's a dozen different ways to win. For example, there's forks everywhere. There's literally nothing. If the queen goes here, the bishop is getting in. This is just incredibly uncomfortable. So he tries activating some pieces. He puts the knight hopping into a pin. He knew that the pawn would be pushed, right, attacking the knight. The knight can't move, but Kramnik was hoping to pull the same thing Kasparov did earlier. He sacrifices the queen, but it doesn't really work for him, right? Because after the queen is taken, sure, he takes the bishop here, attacking the rook, but it's just way too late. We have a knight check here. The king has to stay in touch with the rook, right, protecting, but it doesn't matter. After a trade, the pawn is pushed, and this guy's just gonna be promoted to a queen. The king tries to block, but after knight f5, it's literally just over. As you can see, everything is well defended here. The king would have to go back, but now the bishop is just getting in. So yeah, it's literally over. Just a sample line. Even if a bishop moves trying to uncover this, it doesn't matter. Rook e1 is checkmate, because it's a double check, right? And the king really has nowhere to go. And if you try, I don't know, if you try running, no, you're not running anywhere, because g2, the king is attacked. You have to go back if you don't want to allow promotion, but I don't know, something like rook h3 is actually checkmate, because everything is well protected and you cover h2. So yeah, Kramnik tried re-sacrificing the queen and saying, okay, you're sorry, you were right with the queen sacrifice, but doesn't matter, it's too late, the game is already over. So yeah, what a masterclass. And what if I told you this game was actually a blitz game? The guys had like 5 minutes to play. How? I could have 10 years, I wouldn't find that queen sacrifice. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and catch you in the next one. Bye.